and I'm the founder of Faith2Influence. I started my Christian coaching business in December of 2018, and I remember feeling scared and anxious and tossing and turning at night, wondering whether or not I could make it. I needed to provide for my family. My goal was to earn $60,000 that first year, and God provided beyond what I could have imagined. I collected over $250,000 in revenue in year one and decided to specifically start working with Christian coaches to help them develop the right sales strategies, the right business models, pricing, and mindsets necessary to scale their income and their impact really effectively. I know that sales is hard for many people. For me, it's fun, and I believe it can be fun for you too. So, we're going to talk about those kinds of strategies on this podcast. And today, what I want to talk to you about specifically is entrepreneurial burnout. Part of making sales fun is making sure that we're not burnt out when we're doing it, right? Part of being an entrepreneur and making business fun is having flexibility and joy in the work that we're doing. And so many Christian coaches, so many Christian entrepreneurs get into entrepreneurship in the first place because they value flexibility, they value freedom, and they create structures in which they're absolutely burnt out and exhausted. And this isn't very uncommon because the entrepreneur roller coaster can be heavy. It can be more emotionally exhausting than it is time consuming for some people. For some people, I know, like you're listening to this and you know that you're maybe not filling the hours with a ton of sales calls or filling the hours with a ton of coaching calls. You're newer in your journey and you're like, man, how did the week go by? And I didn't even talk to very many people. And I maybe didn't work that many hours for real, but I'm emotionally exhausted as if I've given it my everything. And it's because you care so much. And maybe you're working and you're busy. You're just not focused on the right things, but you're burnt out anyways. And we can burn ourselves out even just through the anxiety or the emotional roller coaster we take ourselves through in our own minds about the entrepreneurial journey. And maybe the question of whether or not we're good enough, maybe the questioning and self-judgment or self-doubt, that can be exhausting. And for others of you, maybe you've reached a level of success in your business that you are having a lot of sales calls. You are having a lot of coaching calls. You're leading trainings. You're speaking. You're dealing with scale problems and challenges and opportunities in your business to the point that you're feeling burnt out and overwhelmed because you're trying to take on so much and your business is growing pretty rapidly. Whatever the scenario is for you, if you've been in this state of entrepreneurial burnout before, I want to talk to you about how you can avoid it moving forward. Three keys, three ideas on how you can avoid entrepreneurial burnout. Doesn't mean it's never going to happen, but how can we keep it at bay and make it less likely to occur and less frequent when it does occur? And then I want to talk to you about what do you do if you've been putting good structures in place to avoid entrepreneurial burnout and yet you find yourself feeling burnt out. So here's the three things I want to invite you to consider putting in place to make sure that you don't get burnt out or you get burnt out significantly less often as an entrepreneur in your business. Number one is having the right business model. Now, if you've been listening to our podcast or paying attention to me before, you know this already. I believe that the most important person for you to design your business for and your offers for is you. You're the only one who's going to be in your program forever. Clients, even the best ones, are going to come and go. Team members may come and go, but you are always going to be there in your business. And so you need to make sure that you design an offer that you love, an offer that you like designing, an offer that you like fulfilling, an offer that you like selling. If your offer is exhausting you, you're probably not doing it right. You're an entrepreneur. You've got a choice. You can make this something compelling and fun for you. I remember when I started my coaching business at the very beginning, we held our group calls on Tuesday evenings because the company I worked with before held their group calls in the evenings. And I thought you had to hold it in the evening to get attendance. And the truth is, there was a period of time, maybe 6 months into running my business or a year into running my business, where I realized I don't have to do that. I get to choose. And so I moved my calls from Tuesday evenings to Wednesday mornings, and I didn't lose any clients. In fact, I felt so much lighter. I had the freedom of my evening back. I could prioritize my family. I could go on dates with my wife. My life has felt so much better since I made the change from Tuesday evenings to Wednesday during the day for my group call. That was years ago that I made that change. And wow, I felt a relief. It took away burnout. It took away frustration. It made things easy. In fact, I rarely work evenings or weekends in my business. Only do that when I'm running a conference or we're selling at a high ticket sales event for one of our partners, usually a 7 or 8 figure business who's compensating us really significantly to give up that evening and weekend time with my family. But I primarily week to week don't work evenings. I don't work weekends. I've got an offer with the calls at the times that I like. I do them on Tuesdays and Wednesdays primarily for my group calls because those are days I like to be responsible and work, and I don't want to spread them all across the week. I also make sure that like the price I'm selling my programs at and what I'm providing feels really good for me. One of my goals is to create sustainable growth in my business. In fact, that's my theme for the year that Kara and I came up with for our family is sustainable growth. If this isn't something I can do long term, I don't want to do it. I've designed programs now that are really fun for me, are really light, that I enjoy engaging in, and I can scale while still feeling like it's fun and light. So let's make sure you have the right offer. Even take a moment right now. You can pause the podcast to consider what are your primary signature offers and maybe any back pocket offers that you have. If you haven't listened to the episode on back pocket offers, I recommend it. Go and find that episode. But consider your offers right now and say, is there anything about this offer that's burning me out? Anything about this offer I feel tremendous resistance to? Anything about this offer that feels like it's outside of my values? Anything about this offer that just isn't right for me? Or that maybe you're even resenting your clients or your work for? And if the answer to any of that is yes, consider making a change. Maybe the change needs to be phased out, but you need to make sure that your business design, your pricing, your offers, the number of clients you're working with, that all of it aligns with you feeling light and free and having fun in your business. Now, light and free is different for different people. For some people, light and free is working 40 hard hours a week, but not working 50. For some people, it's working 50 hours a week doing work that they love. Some people don't even distinguish the difference between their work life and their home life. That's not true for me. They're dramatically different. For others of you, 20 hours a week is going to feel light and free. For some of you, it's 10 hours a week. You're doing this around other things. It's a side hustle. And so consider what light and free means for you and make sure that your business is designed in a way that feels light and free and sustainable. The second thing is making sure that you have the right community support and relationships to sustain your business without burnout. This can take a number of different forms. For me, one of the most important forms of me avoiding burnout is making sure that the community and relationships I have are on my team. I know that I have a few things that I'm great at. I'm really great at sales. I'm pretty great at coaching. I'm pretty great at speaking and training and providing value to our clients. I'm great at networking and building relationships. Those are the things I'm good at. I want to spend as much of my time as possible in my genius doing those things, which helps me avoid burnout. And there are things I am not good at. And for those things, I need team. I need help. And so I've got people like Adrian Davis, who's my executive assistant and handles our onboarding and handles our finances and so many tasks that feel so heavy for me. She allows me to feel light and free by working with me and taking those tasks off my plate. I think about people like Phil Card and Rachel O'Connell and Adam Way and Jewel Paban, who are so good at a lot of the operational marketing and funnel kind of stuff that go into what we're calling the machine in our business. They've worked so hard to build this machine, and I really need them. Jewel is interesting because she has like skill sets that align with mine, and she's doing some sales and some coaching for us now. And she's also still doing that marketing and operational stuff. She's one of the rare people who can fit in both worlds. But for most people, like Phil, he's not going to get into the sales world. He's focused on operations. He's focused on the funnel, the machine, the back office stuff. That's his gift. And I need to be on the sales and coaching and leadership speaking side. Some people bridge the gap to both, but know yourself. Because I know who I am, like I need to have team I can delegate to. And even as we scale and want to achieve our goals, for me to avoid burnout, I need support with the things that I'm good at. And so I've brought Myrna on our team, and I've brought Carrie on our team, and we've got Jewel helping with some of this stuff. And we've got appointment setters now, and Billy Joe and Winter. I mean, we've got amazing people supporting our team. Daniel's helping us this few months in an internship, and they're working with us on the sales team and sales and coaching team. And I want them to be able to make some of the sales. I want them to take on some of the things that I'm good at, so I don't feel a weight or pressure that I have to do it all by myself. What a gift they are to me. And additionally, Carrie and Myrna and Jewel have all led group calls in our community now in either CCA or sales school over the last few months. Each of them has led at least one group call over the last few months, which allows me to feel lighter and freer, and like I can sustain success, and I can take a vacation, and I can be unavailable at times, and we can keep moving forward. So having the right community support, the right team in place really matters. Now, I want you to recognize that team can be people who you pay on a monthly basis to work for you, but it could also look different. It could be like a partner. It could be a person that you work with that's not really full-time on your team, but they provide a service to your team. Jared Whitman is that for us. Jared Whitman comes once a quarter, does all the marketing for me. He does our quarterly marketing days. We record a bunch of videos. He's processing podcasts for me right now, so that some of the future podcast episodes you watch aren't going to be recorded the week of. They're batch recorded with Jared, and he makes them really awesome, and he puts those out for you. And so he works on my team without being on my team. He's a service provider, and that's extremely valuable to me. It makes my life way easier. So think about who are the right people for you to work with in your business. Beyond the people that you work with, though, who are your peers? Who are the people who are on the journey that you're on, doing what you do, who you can commiserate with and celebrate with and ask questions of? Having the right relationships with people who encourage you and inspire you and speak life into you is going to help you be way more successful. And so for me, that's our Christian Coaches Academy. Or it was this Christian entrepreneurial prayer group that Pete Vargas created that I was in for years that was so encouraging to me. But I think about our Christian Coaches Academy, where we've got 110 Christian coaches in a directory together on a group call, praying for each other every single week and celebrating each other's praises and wins. There's so much value in having that community of peers who are on the same journey, who can encourage you. By the way, if you're interested in our Christian Coaches Academy, you want more community, you want more encouraging voices in your corner to help you avoid burnout and be at your best, go to www.f2itribe.com/CCA. That's F, the number 2, the letter I, tribe.com/CCA. I'd love for you to join us there. It's a low price membership, but it's a beautiful community of people. And then the other question is, like, do you have the right mentorship, the right coaching? Are you, as a coach, being coached and receiving support in making sure that you do things in an efficient way? What I'd like to see from you as a Christian coach or entrepreneur or a leader, business person, whatever it is that you're doing right now as you're listening to this podcast, is my challenge for you is this: can you become better and better and better at what you do over time? Can you become more and more and more efficient so that the same tasks, the same workload becomes easier? So that if you have a certain financial goal you want to hit, you can do it in fewer and fewer sales calls as the months and years pass, because you're better at your skill set. Maybe for me, one of the things I'm trying to receive leadership on right now is, how can I be a better leader to my team? How can I provide greater team leadership and delegation and empower the people around me so that they can win, which will help me and the team and the community and Faith2Influence win? So if you want to avoid burnout, make sure you're learning the skill sets necessary to develop and grow, so business doesn't stay as hard as it was at the beginning through to the end. It should get easier for you. The third thing that's going to help you avoid burnout is having the right calendar. So if you've been with me so far, number 1, we need the right business design. Number 2, we need the right community and relationships around us supporting us to avoid burnout. And the third thing that we need to avoid burnout is the right calendar design. And so what I'm going to encourage you to do is make sure that you have structures in your calendar to support your self-care. I know that there's a whole host of opinions about this, but the truth is, you need to fill your cup up if you're going to keep pouring it out for everybody else. You need time for you. You need time for self-care. So there might be certain things that are daily structures, like a morning routine or an evening routine, or every day at lunch, you spend some time with God. So make sure that you have your time with God in your calendar. Make sure that you have time for prayer. Make sure you have time to be in the Word. Maybe for you, it's exercise. Maybe for you, it's yoga. Maybe for you, it's stretching. Maybe for you, it is meditation. Maybe for you, it's taking a walk around the block. And you do it at the same time every single day because it gives you energy and it fills your cup. These little things, as simple as it can sound, we now live 2 blocks from my kids' school. And so we walk them to school in the morning. And as somebody who works from home, it's so easy. It was so easy for me to not leave the house in a day, to just get up, have my morning inside, walk down to the office and get to work. And the structure of walking my kids 2 blocks to school and walking back 2 blocks is life changing for me. Getting the oxygen, the fresh air, the sun, moving my body. It might seem so simple, but that little structure helps me avoid burnout and feel better. What are those daily structures for you that are easy? And then you want to think about, like, what are some weekly structures that you need? For me, like, a lot of weeks, I'm going to book an extended period of self-care, a couple of hours in my calendar off, and I'll call it self-care. And sometimes I might be getting a massage. Sometimes I might be going and sitting on my front porch like I like to do and just enjoying the sun and watching people walk past and reading. Other times I might be going for a walk. Sometimes I might just lay down on the couch and watch a show in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week. I need like a 2-hour block, at least 1 2-hour block every week like that, where I'm totally free. I'm not responsible to anyone in my business. I'm not responsible as a husband. I'm not responsible to my kids. No one needs anything from me. And I can just have a couple of hours to recharge. And so you might need something like that. But the other thing I know that I need blocks of time on my calendar for planning, blocks of time on my calendar for task work. As much as I try to delegate that, there are things that I need to do, and I need to make sure I have blocks for that where I'm not on sales calls or coaching calls. And I've got the freedom of space for that planning. I need to make sure that I've got a quarterly planning session with my team. That refills my cup and theirs. I need to make sure that I have vacations in my calendar with my wife and kids, and some with just my wife. I need to make sure I have date night in my calendar with my wife. Date night, I understand the challenge of this. We have to spend the money to go on the date. We have to spend the money to get the babysitter. We have to prioritize the time. We have to deal with our kids being disappointed sometimes or sad because they like the time with us too. And I have to explain to them again and again, like, how important it is for mom and dad to have dates with each other. But for me, I don't care how much it costs. I don't care how much I have to sacrifice. I need that date with my wife. I have to have it. I've been quoted saying, I will go into debt going on dates with my wife if I have to. Okay, maybe that's not what your belief system is. I understand. I know that this is easier said than done, but it's so important to me. I feel so revived when I go to a great restaurant and get a great meal with my wife, and it's just the two of us, and I'm away from technology and I'm away from my kids as much as I love them. I get that space with just us. It is meaningful to me. And I guess, as well, as an entrepreneur who works from home, I need to get out of the house, right? I need that, like, monthly poker night I do with guys, where we just play games and we hang out, we talk to each other. I've got a few really good guy friends that we have that time together once a month. Those things for me are really important. And for you, it might look totally different, but what are your daily, weekly, and monthly rhythms that allow you to feel good and at your best? And maybe quarterly, a vacation, a weekend away, a night out of the house. These things really matter and add up. So those are the 3 things that I would recommend that you think about really thoughtfully and prepare for really thoughtfully as an entrepreneur if you want to avoid burnout. Get your business design right, get your community support right with team, community of peers, mentors, leadership, etc. And then the third thing is make sure that your calendar is reflective of what you need to feel good. Because when you feel good, you're going to do well. Now, what do we do if we find, okay, I tried to do these things and here I am feeling burnt out anyways? Then we need to pause. If you notice that you're in a state of burnout, you need to pause. And the solution, one, I mean, surrender to God, bring it to prayer, of course, but the solution is almost always going to be in one of those original 3 things. So if you're burnt out, it could just be a tough season. And you need to look at your business design and say, is my business designed in such a way that it's sustainable? And maybe what was sustainable before when you had 5 clients isn't sustainable now when you have 35 clients. And maybe your business needs to pivot. Maybe your model and your offer needs to change a little bit. That's okay. Different phases of business sometimes require a different kind of offer, a different business design, a different price point. So maybe there's an opportunity to shift there. It might be, though, you recognize, okay, I'm really burnt out because I've got this stuff going on personally. My business design is still aligned long term, and I just need something else to support me during this short term window of time, even though it's not a shift in my business. So don't immediately go to changing your business model, your price point, your offerings, but consider it and check in and say, is this the right model for me long term, and is it sustainable? A second question is, how are we doing in community? Maybe you just need a really good conversation with a good mentor or a good friend to connect and share how you're feeling and get it off your chest. And just processing aloud will allow you to feel lighter and freer. Maybe you just need a coaching session with God where you just ask questions and you listen and you connect with Him. Maybe what you need is to up level your peer group. Like maybe you recognize that like you're not getting enough energy from the people you're spending time with, and you need to go out and network, or you need to join a community, or you need to get involved with some new people who encourage you and speak life into your vision. Maybe you're ready to hire a team member, your first team member, or your next team member, or maybe you're ready to hire a service provider to provide a single service to you that would really lighten your load as a coach. And so if you're feeling burnt out and you think that you've got the right business model, a question would be, do I have enough support and the right support around me? Or do I need to up level anywhere there? And hiring your first team member might be easier than you think. The third thing would be to look at your calendar and maybe to say, you know what, I'm burnt out. I think I've got the right team in place. I think I've got the right business model. I think I've got the right relationships around me. It's just circumstantial with my personal life, or just an unusually busy couple of weeks, and I'm just feeling drained right now. Or maybe you're sick, you're going through like a seasonal sickness or a seasonal depression or any kind of thing you can imagine. So if it just needs a short-term solution, sometimes it's a short-term calendar change, not some big overhaul. Sometimes you just need to book off on Friday. Be like, okay, this Friday I'm just taking the day off. That's it. That might be all you need. Or maybe even it's extreme enough that you're like, okay, today I need to cancel or reschedule my calls. I've done it before. I think it's okay to have a day where you reschedule your calls if you need it for your mental health, for your physical health, for your emotional health. But better if you can see, okay, a few days out, it'd be really easy to take that day off. And then you can look forward to that if you've like made the right changes to your calendar to create that freedom. Maybe you don't need a full day. Maybe you just need a few hours. Maybe you just need that 3 hour block where you're going to go get a massage, where you're going to get out of the house, where you're going to get out of routine, where you're going to take care of yourself. But recognize, like, do you need a few hours? Do you need a day? Do you need a couple of days? And if so, be proactive and prioritize it and take the time off. So maybe it's just a short term solve. Maybe you need that vacation. Maybe you need that date with your spouse. And there's just like this one time problem solver that's going to bring you back to balance and harmony in the way you need to show up in your life and your business so you can get back on track. The other thing that could be true is that you need some long term structures to change. Maybe you recognize, you know what, I need a date every week. Let's get a babysitter. No matter what excuses and reasons why not we've had in the past, like, let's make this a priority now. Or maybe you recognize that like you need to get in a Bible study and get out of the house and have time with God, with peers and friends from your church. Or maybe the recognition is like you need to take uh, Wednesday afternoons off every week and just know that that's time for you. Or maybe it's that you just need to add a morning walk to your calendar and get outside the house, or an afternoon walk and get outside the house and get away from your computer. Maybe there's some ongoing structure. But if you find yourself in burnout, it's just coming back to these same three things again and again, along with, of course, bringing it to God as always. But we're looking at the business design, we're looking at your community support and relationships, and we're looking at your calendar and finding out where you need a shift, short term or long term. You can do this. Let's avoid burnout. Let's run a business in such a way that we can be energized and have fun and love the work so it's sustainable and we can do it long term. God bless you. Good luck in this. I'll talk to you all more soon. Cheers.